let's record so we can have this in the Akashic record.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, so a lot of sisters are getting the nudge to come out. They, I think, been somewhat apprehensive and reluctant. I mean, we've talked about this on the show for a few years, but I'm happy to see that, that they are stepping forward. We need to see that. We need to be exposed to them. We need to see
Absolutely.
that mother goddess, divine feminine energy, so we can bring the balance back and all. But Misty Ivy, welcome to Soul Speaks 5D. Thank you for coming in and
Thank you.
sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence. It's good to meet you. So you're in North Carolina.
I am.
Light workers in North Carolina. Are you in the big city or you're out in the country?
Well, Winston-Salem, it's pretty big, but
Right.
I'm pretty far away from the city, at least 20 minutes.
Oh, I got
So
you.
I'm not directly in the city. I'm from Detroit.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I was born here in North Carolina, but raised in Detroit.
Oh,
And
wow.
then miraculously, I come back here. So it's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
beautiful here. Yeah. Nature.
Detroit. Yeah. Well, Detroit, to me, I like Detroit. I used to be in the corporate world, and I had a
Nice.
office in Detroit. That was an interesting scenario back in the day. There's a lot to be said for those densely populated areas. I mean, every place has dark and light,
It does.
but Detroit, New York City, Houston, Chicago,
Right.
LA.
Right.
We can learn from everything, but yeah, I think
Absolutely.
I'm getting a little stir crazy here. I've been here since first of the year, and I'm itching to get out. Even if it's for just
Really, yeah.
yeah, because it gets a little.
Oh,
Although
it
I'm going
gets
to get
hot.
it. Yeah, well, it gets hot and it's somewhat dense. I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
kind of play that good block, bad block, thing, and
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean, I guess there's what we call light workers, star seeds, whatever you want to call it, whoever we are, the weirdos are all over the place in all different kinds of environments. So how did this go for you? You were born in North Carolina and you
I
end up
was.
being raised in Detroit, which means that
Right.
you got to be street smart to live in
Yeah,
Detroit.
for
And
sure.
did you have like a traditional wake up experience? Did you have something occur like a lot of people have with the traumas and
I did.
yeah.
What happened is after my family moved to Detroit and we started our life, I went to school, finished school. I worked and I sold cellular phones for about 10 years, Radio Shack, Wireless Toys, Sprint, T-Mobile, doing really good for myself,
Hmm.
I have a baby in 2008, and then in 2010, my whole family died in one summer.
Wow.
It was a lot of mental abuse and addiction, but
Well, I'm
I
sorry to hear that.
overanalyzed. Thank you. I overanalyzed it all. I was very curious. And it was my aunt had shot herself in the head. She had fibromyalgia and she had addictions to the Vicodin and the cocaine. She just couldn't take it anymore. So she died. My grandmother died. My grandfather died. And then my uncle, my aunt's brother, also shot himself in the head due to addictions and mental health.
Wow.
Crack addiction. My mother is left, and me and my brother. So after that occurred, I was in shock. I'd wake up and I'd start shaking because the trauma was so severe. So as time passed, I thought it was getting better. My dad had moved from Detroit to North Carolina, Jacksonville by the ocean. He was a book writer. He wrote 3 novels, Angels Come in Colors, Images from Her Mind, Volume 1 and 2.
Wow.
So he went out there to write in North Carolina. He called me. He says, baby, I'm dying. I got terminal cancer. He thought it was bursitis in his arm, and it was tumors throughout his whole body. And I don't know if you've heard about that Camp Lejeune.
Yes.
Something.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's where he was.
Oh my God. Now,
Yeah,
okay.
so-
Now the first part of this you were talking about occurred in 2010. Now, when you're
Right. This is 2012 now, my
Oh.
dad.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
So I sell my trailer in Detroit and I move to North Carolina and I take care of him. Sorry, I'm freezing up underneath the air conditioner. Oh goodness, I started shaking there a little bit. So I moved down there with my 3-year-old daughter and I start taking care of him.
Wow.
And I take him to the it's 2 hours away, right almost by South Carolina, the cancer facility. What was it called? It was some kind of cancer, like big hospital. So I'm taking him there every day, and it's just so severe. Like it's so severe. And I have my little girl with me, and my dad is throwing up as I'm driving him there. And they say they had the biopsy done, and the surgeon brought me into his room and said, "It's just you here?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, your dad has less than 3 months to live." I said, "Wow." Sorry, I said, "My whole family just died." I said, "So this is really, traumatic." I have to grab my jacket. And so I had to endure the whole process of a man dying of terminal cancer.
Wow.
And it was my best friend, my dad. And he had just wrote all these novels, I haven't got to read one,
Really?
but I will. It was so much trauma that I really hit rock bottom.
Right.
I sold my house. I had nowhere to live. I didn't want to live out there where he was. Oh God, I'm sorry. I'm so cold.
It's all right.
It was just really traumatic. So he ended up dying exactly 3 months. And I had to cremate him. I didn't have enough money. So I had to hold a sign outside on the freeway. I needed $300 more. Anyway, one of the neighbors gave it to me. He said, "Here, I'll buy your TV." I was trying to sell his TV just to make the rest of the money. It was just really sad, But after that, everything started happening. I started having visions. I didn't know that they were visions. I didn't know what they were. I just knew I was connecting with God more and more.
Right.
I looked up in the sky. I was in the backyard. I started getting into meditation and frequencies. I look up to the sky, and there is a 3-headed dragon attacking a curly-haired baby with 7 angels blowing trumpets in perfect precision. I said, okay. I went to grab my phone to take a picture. I said, I don't need a picture. I'm never going to forget this, So as time went by, evolving, going more and more one with the Creator. I have never read the Bible, but it's just every time I would go and read a scripture, I was living it. Right. So I said, I'm sure the Bible is great. And then I had another vision after that. I was sitting in my front room. I had just got done meditating, and I look in front of me, and there is this big white source of light with 4 angels on each side of him. Now I can see the angels, but the source is just this big silhouette of light. So, oh my God. I said, this can't be real, I was the second angel to the source's left. So as time went by, I didn't understand. I thought, well, I'm really heightened in consciousness, It just must be a figment of my imagination. Well, it wasn't. In the last month, it really, all the puzzle pieces have come together for me. And I have recognized.
In this last month?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That doesn't surprise me.
Every time somebody asks me to be on their show, I start thinking higher, which is what you're supposed to do. So I was just on the missing link. Everything started happening then. And then when you invited me, it's just, it raised my consciousness to such a level. Don't get me wrong, I've been putting in for a long time. I made a whole empire on Facebook. I actually wrote it down to make sure I knew. I have the mystic moon, which I tell about the moon phases and mystical things, metaphysical alchemy type things. I have the question. That's pretty much where you can ask me any question, or I put stuff out, media that is what you would question it. I have twin flames, be the light. I have the mystic mountain meditation, where I teach people to meditate and stuff like that. I have the lapis lounge, where I teach crystals and what their usage are, what their purpose. I have health as well. I have heaven on earth, and I have Jupiter return readings. And that's where I help people with my cards and readings, etc.
Wow.
So I've built this whole world, and I have all these people that follow me. And, I just treat them with kindness. I treat them with love, and I watch them evolve. And it's just the most beautiful thing to me. Money can't buy this, this sort of happiness. So I'm doing very well for myself. I'm doing very well. But it was a lot of trauma to overcome.
Yeah. I mean, this story is very similar to the stories of the many people that have been on this show.
Really?
Absolutely. Wow. So I'd like to go back and dig a little bit, because there's a lot of code in what occurred from the point of your father's transition to what you're describing now in the last month. And obviously, this year has been just incredible.
It has.
This month has been incredible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the 777's just been a whole, it's just like a whole, like we've all just been jettisoned into some, crazy new
evolution. Yeah.
So let me go back for a minute first. You talked about your dad, and I don't remember the names of the books, but based on the names of the books and the energy of the names of the books, it sounds like he was tapped in.
He was. His father was a minister, and my grandmother, his wife, died in church. So my dad went to California instead of becoming a minister, and I know why. There's many things. My grandfather, it was told that he had touched the whole family sexually. And when my dad was dying, my grandfather finally came around, and he said, "Oh, I wish you were my girlfriend with that smile." And
this is the pastor.
This is my grandfather.
Right.
I mean, my dad kept us far away from him. I never knew him like that, but yep, that was my grandfather.
So, and again, this is very similar to many of the people that have come on to the show. They're the sex magic, sexual distortion, molestation, rape, and so on.
Can I add something? Oh, go ahead, dear. Okay, so what this, but during all of that, I had perfect teeth. I was starting to act and model. And
this is what, when was this?
This is right before everyone died.
Okay, I got you.
This is 2010 and all the way to 2018. I mean, it got severe. See, this is what happened. I was cleaning this man's house, an extra side job, and he wanted to introduce me to a dentist. I didn't have any really problem with my teeth, but I said, okay, I got a little bit of sensitivity. Sure, and he was going to pay for it. He gave the dentist $600. I had insurance, so none of that really needed to happen. I could have paid myself. I think the old man kind of wanted to show me off. So I get there, and he put some polished enamel on my teeth. I go back, I leave, I go back and clean for the old man again. He says, well, let's go see Dr. Riker. I said, okay. So I went back to the dentist and I said, yeah, it didn't really work, the enamel polish. And he said, oh, well, I have a fix for that. And I didn't understand what he was talking about. Like, I didn't comprehend what he wanted to do. He told me that he was going to make my teeth look beautiful and that I would do modeling, you know, so well after this. So he puts me under the gas. Now, mind you, I'm an addict. I'm taking Vicodin. So he puts me under the gas. I said, oh, yeah, I want some gas. He pulls out the 2 nerves out of my 2 front teeth. He stuffs them with cotton. I didn't know he was doing that. I would never allowed him to do that. He was having a divorce. He was going through some problems with his wife. He neglected the appointments. Infection set into the bone marrow of my mouth and my face. I went to the emergency room. All they did was give me pain medicine. I had to go back to him, and he had to remove my 2 front teeth. Now, mind you, I was model. My teeth were my everything. And I had just started in the spiritual community as well. I mean, it was such a long thing. So I have no 2 front teeth at this point, and I am in shock. He says, don't worry. He says, I made you very expensive veneers. I said, oh, okay. I'm a very nice person. I let people walk all over me for far too long. So he puts the veneers in. He put them in with a paper clip. I didn't know. Years down the road, the tooth broke off. I went into major pain. Found out it was a paper clip holding it in. So my whole face had to be removed. Infections set in everywhere. So now I'm with no teeth. I'm reading cards. I can't get back up on camera with no teeth. So it was the most horrible thing. I went to the dentist to get free dentures. They were the most horrible dentures the government paid for. They were so big, they didn't fit. So I didn't put any in. So I came to North Carolina. There was a good dentist here. They made me really good dentures. It took a long time for me to put the bottoms in. But finally, one day, God just said, do it. And I did it. And I've had a lot of confidence ever since. But I tried to sue this dentist, and they sent me a letter saying that the lawyer's office wouldn't take it on. But meanwhile, this dentist was asking for nude photos of me, and he would send me any kind of pain pill I needed for the pain. He would send it to North Carolina from Detroit. So there was a lot of fraudulent activity going on. Hi, honey. This is Hazel. This is my daughter. Say hi.
Hello.
Hi. You can't
Hi,
hear
Hazel.
them. They say hi. Come on, go watch.
Why am I talking?
Oh, he is talking. He's in my ear. Okay, sit down. Mama will be done in a minute. Okay. A big airplane. You seen it out the window?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It makes sound.
Wow. Okay, I'll be back with you in a minute. So it was so much trauma, Todd. There was a lot of trauma, but it brought me all the way up to speed, because you have to think my whole family is on the other side. So, but they're really right here with me,
Right.
ancestors. So I feel like I have evolved farther than many because of the trauma I endured. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
So Okay. I mean, I guess, you know, there's a few common denominators with the stories,
I
uh,
bet.
the journeys that
Mhm.
we've all had. Um, no, they're not all exactly the same, but
Right.
uh, I think the bottom line is transformation. And
Exactly.
as we go through, the levels of our transformation, you know, the traumas are seen, and the shadows are seen and become brought into an equilibrium and seen as you could say the catalyst for our transformation, and
That's it.
seen as the gold that they are.
Mhm.
So you know, you said a whole lot there, covered a whole lot of years. I'm just trying to get a grasp of it, because a
Right.
lot of people that are tuning in,
Mhm.
including myself,
Mhm.
we can talk about sexual distortion. We can talk about the influence of other people. We can talk about
Absolutely.
addiction.
Yes.
We can talk about the transition of loved ones.
Mhm.
Um, you've reached a point now where you have tapped into a few different
Yep.
things that you talked about, that you have a presence established on social media.
Mhm.
These things, you don't just hang up a shingle and say,
No.
I can tell you about this, or I
Yeah.
know how to read cards. So there
Right.
has to have been some type of evolution. I know there
There was.
was, and
Mhm.
has been, and continues to be, from those early days in 2010, 11, and 12, and through this experience with this dentist.
Yeah.
How did you, I mean, you had these visions, again, a lot of us here,
Mhm.
very much
Mhm.
the same, especially in that time
Wow.
period, especially around
Wow.
2012. Uh, a lot of us have
Wow.
had that type of thing and continue to, you know, from
Mhm.
apparitions to visitations to, you know, dimensional experience and so on.
Absolutely.
How did you begin to transform? You saw these visions.
Mhm.
Uh, were you guided to go pick up some
Well,
cards? Were you guided to, uh,
I was. My Aunt Kathy that killed herself, she was obviously angelic genes.
hmm,
She had given me a deck when I was 17 years old. And
okay,
she said, try these out. So I didn't know anything about them. So I laid a couple of cards down in front of me. They were angel cards by Doreen Virtue.
yeah,
And I said, what the hell? They're telling me my future. This is dead on. So she turned to me and she says, oh, they're fun, aren't they? I said, yeah, yes. But after my whole entire family died, I didn't want to talk to the other side. So I laid the cards down.
hmm,
But see, after the dentist, well, during the dentist, I had encountered with the stepfather of my first child's father, who continuously wanted to have sex with me for money. My father had just died. I was in a weak state. I did it. And I continued to do it until I couldn't take anymore. And I actually had my twin flame come in, and he was from high school. He awoken me even more. I left. I came back to North Carolina. I said, I will never do something so degrading and show my children that that's how you make money. So I broke the cycle many times. Then, with my first father of my child, I was pregnant with another man's baby, and he punched my teeth out while I was pregnant. Domestic violence, spat. And my daughter was born with 2 teeth months after he punched 2 teeth out of my mouth. It was actually prior to all my teeth getting ripped out. It's something else. It's a very long story. I have never been able to tell it, but one day I had actually a very big epiphany last night that I'm gonna make a movie of my life. Very high energy the last couple days.
hmm,
It's been pretty intense and amazing. But yeah, I seen myself in the first couple minutes of the movie showing everyone my vision, and so they could see through my eyes. and they could battle this spiritual warfare that we have going on with my experience.
Hmm.
Something like that.
So how does somebody, or how did you, how have you dealt with this? I mean, you're talking about addiction, you're talking about,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I
Intense.
absolutely commend you on your openness and your
Thank you.
candor. It takes a lot of courage to talk about these things. I
Mhm.
think we're obviously moving towards transparency, and there's a lot of coding in transparency, regardless of what the subject matter is.
Mhm.
How does somebody, because the reason I'm asking you this, and the reason I
Mhm.
ask these questions on the show, is because there's people out there that may be experiencing the same exact thing. There may be
Absolutely.
something in your story that
Mhm.
helps them to bring themselves into a higher level of alignment. How do you come into alignment when you are coming from a place that, from the human perspective only,
Mhm.
not from the multidimensional perspective, because it's a whole different ballgame, but from the human perspective, drug addiction,
Mhm. Mhm.
sexual distortion, you could say self-sabotage, self-deprecation,
Mhm.
and you're a parent at the same time, and and everything that's going on, the energies that present themselves, the dimensional experiences. At the end of the day,
Well,
regardless of how connected we are, how many
Mhm.
visions we have, how many
Mhm.
channelings we do, or transmissions or downloads we receive, we're still a fucking human being. And
Absolutely.
the human being is the consciousness that's on point with our multidimensionality. How are you bringing things into alignment? What are your practices? What are your go-tos?
I had some really, go ahead.
Well, I'm trying to understand.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot
Great question.
there's a lot going on here, and I'm just
Mhm.
trying to understand, because this is obviously, the age of the Trinity, where the rhythm or the flow is where we serve in equal degree ourselves, the other,
Mhm.
and the collective. There's a lot of talk over the years about the archetype of the wounded healer. I think we can all relate to
Wow.
that. There's a lot of talk about being a floor mat, being an
Yes.
overgiver.
Yes. That's
We
what I
can
am.
all relate to that. So
Beautiful.
what I'd like to find out is, how are you transforming? How are you taking
Mhm.
this very human, traumatic experience and
Mhm.
conditioning and programming, and turning it around into a balanced life experience?
It started off slow. And I was in love with candles and alchemy. So I would take the candle and I would write, you know, health or wealth on the candle, and I would put a cross. Now, mind you, I've never read the Bible, but I believe in myself. So when I would see God, and He would give me His white cloak, and when people were abusing, I would put it over me before I went to bed, and it helped me tremendous. I had a lot of good mentors like Wayne Dyer, Sylvia Brown. Like they reminded, I resonated with them so much. They reminded me of me, that I followed them, and they taught me about the angels and calling upon them and invoking the angels. I now see angels. But the biggest help was alpha waves, the frequencies. I no longer watch TV for some years now. All I do is listen to alpha waves, especially before I go to sleep. And it literally heals my brain. The vibration. People say, "Oh, I don't know how to meditate." Well, you don't have to meditate. All you have to do is listen. Your brain has to hear it, and it heals you. And it just keeps continuing to heal you. And there's so many different frequencies or alpha waves for different things. You can heal anything in your life. You can be reborn again just from listening to frequencies and
When you
meditation.
say frequencies, are you talking about like the universal tones that we hear?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
528 hertz.
But I mean, this is without turning on any music. This is just listening to
That's
the universal
just
tones
The universal tone.
and just being one with that, right?
Yes.
I can relate to that. Yeah.
And I mean, even in the last year, I had seen a comment on a YouTube channel and it said, this healed me. I said, well, that's what it's doing to me, but your confirmation that this is really happening, this is really working. So I just kept doing it and kept doing it. And every day, I get a little higher in consciousness. There's no more trauma. I've healed my trauma. Now I'm one with Creator. And that
How do
is a
you,
marvelous feeling.
a lot has been, especially in the last couple of years,
Mhm.
there's been a lot of talk about good and evil, dark and
Yes.
light,
Mhm.
that from the higher perspective, not to make light of anything,
Mhm.
that it's all one and the same, that we're here to integrate polarities in a
is.
dualistic realm.
Absolutely.
And that we have to make peace, so to speak, with both ends of the spectrum.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. There is no good or bad. This has all been a programming.
Mhm.
And, until we get people to realize that, they're going to stay stuck on the illusion of the religion and everything else that has been programmed to this world. So I'm fighting for them to realize this. This is real deal. It's very hard to deprogram the people. They are stuck in their ways, but if
What about,
can help just a
is it,
few-
but is it really about the people or is it about you? Is it about the people or is it about you? Because one of the things that's occurring
the
for
people.
everybody is that we're moving inside of ourselves. If we change ourselves,
Mhm.
then everything around us changes.
And it did. And
Our
it did.
perspective of our perpetrators, our so-called victimizers change. These are
Yes.
things that we can't fake.
Right.
I mean, again,
So yes, I changed myself,
hmm,
but now I want others to recognize it in me and believe, because I want the world to change for the children, because really it's all about the children, of the new world.
hmm.
So that is my goal. So I just keep shedding light. I just keep heightening the vibration of love on the planet. I know that my children are going to see all the work I did. There's no way I can't win here.
Mhm.
I'm very proud of myself doing it though. And I'm proud of you. I'm so grateful for us and our spiritual community, all of it. It's just so beautiful.
And you have one child or two?
I have three.
Three. Okay. Congratulations.
Thank
There's
you.
been
Three girls.
three girls. I've got four girls. and
Oh my
two
God.
boys. Now, let me ask you this. A lot has
I love
been,
that.
in the last 2-3 years, there's been a lot of discussion, I know on this show and in other cases, these children are starting to come to the party.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
And I like to ask folks that come on to the show, what are you picking up from your children? A lot of people that are coming on the show are talking about how they're gaining coding and information
They are.
and harmonics from their children, whether it's being verbalized to them or not,
Absolutely.
dimensional experiences, etc. What are you seeing in your experience that you're sharing with your children?
Well, I mean, they were incarnated very old, very creative, very musical. You could tell that they're going to make a real difference in this world. But yes, they're channeling as fast as I am. They're keeping up with me at 6 years old and 3,
Right.
and even my 15-year-old. When I was delivering my 6-year-old right now, Scarlet Eve, she was born with teeth. My 15-year-old was in the emergency room at the exact same time, almost dying as I was giving birth to her sister. She has diabetes type 2. So I couldn't be in both places at once. It was pretty traumatic. But after they rushed her to Children's Hospital, my 15-year-old, I was able to leave the baby in the nursery and go see my daughter that was
Mm.
practically comatose because we didn't know that her sugar was that low. We didn't know that that was happening. I should have, but I didn't. And we have it all under control now. She's on a pump, but it's very hard to see your daughter in her life, on a machine. A robot is keeping her levels where they're supposed to be at. I've learned a lot. But,
Do you feel like that with all this trauma that involves your family, that there's some type of ancestral lineage scenario here
absolutely
that you're
yes.
that you're in collaboration with them, trying to turn this around or bring it into alignment?
Yes, and it's
Have
getting
you-
deeper and deeper.
Yeah. Have you received any downloads or transmissions involving this ancestral lineage and the things that you're faced with?
I have. I feel it has something to do with the whole twin flame label. I mean, all of it's labels, but when you start living it, you put two and two together. What's wrong, hon? Oh, I'm so sorry. Here you go. So sorry. She's supposed to be asleep. My goodness. You start seeing it. You start recognizing, like, this is what my aunt did. And then she died. She went through this. There's the labels again, narcissism and dealing with narcissists and dealing with poverty. And it was all the same similar things that my family dealt with before they died. So obviously I've got the code. I know how to crack it. I know how to break
How
the
do you
cycle.
crack it?
Well, you have to keep leading with love. You have to love yourself no matter what. And when you keep loving yourself, you'll match the energy of yourself. And that brings you to just oneness, completion. It's hard to explain.
Well,
Ask me, tell me the question again. Say it again.
how do you love yourself?
Oh my God, my cat. You love yourself by
you
putting you first. Putting you first. Go, Pip.
In
Go on,
what
baby,
way?
go.
And how do you do that?
Self-love. This is
How do you-
how I did it. I started picking me first. I laid down all my attachments. I had to be stuck on a mountain to stop smoking, but I did. Stop smoking cigarettes. Stop doing any kind of narcotic. I started focusing on myself, working toward my goals. I started a routine every day. I have a face routine. I wash my face. I walk a certain amount. I exercise a certain amount. I stretch my body. I eat healthy. You intuitively know what is good for you. And this is not just the way you eat, but this is your thoughts as well. So I push myself no matter what. I think positive. I think positive. If there's something going on, I jump immediately. I say, no, I'm here. I'm on a beach right now. And I just change my thoughts immediately to positive ones. And, your thoughts go up to source. And then it changes your evolution on Earth. And that's what I did. And that it has helped me. It has brought me just into completion. And now I can help others. Pippi, oh, that's my cat. I rescued her and she's still here. Pippi, you gotta go. Come on, let's go. Come on. Come on. Hurry, come on. Hurry. Okay, love you.
Have you been able to make contact with those that have transitioned in your family?
Yes, my dad.
And does he?
Continuously. I just hear him.
Yeah.
Just like he's right here. He's
Does
like, oh,
he-
it's gonna be okay, baby.
Yeah.
That's about it, though.
Okay.
I mean, I hear other things, but he's about the only one, though.
Hmm.
that I can hear.
Hmm.
And
So
God.
where do you think we're at now? Like as a collective on the earth?
Oh, it's happening. We're walking through the gates now. We're walking through the gates of heaven on earth.
Hmm.
Everyone has evolved to such a point. Everything is being revealed. The veil is so thin. Everything is being revealed. Like it's all about these false light workers. That's all I've been hearing for the last 24 hours. And
What
I
does
have
that
been
mean?
with, well, I guess it's people that preach and teach, but they're not filled with love. You know, they have
Who
alternate
determines that?
motives.
Who determines that?
Well, I kind of just watch it go along, you know. I mean, I
Mhm.
don't jump in and judge. I do not
I mean,
judge
if you
nobody or nothing.
got two ends of the spectrum,
Right. Everything's
okay,
happening for a
if you got
reason.
two ends of the spectrum,
Mhm.
each end of the spectrum is the equal distance from the 0 point field,
That's
from
right.
neutrality, and they're going to look at the other as, you know, as the bad
So,
guy, so to speak.
right.
So
But it's all happening for a reason.
this false light
That's
thing
it. I
is, to
know.
me,
I
is,
know. I think the same way, but
what do
it's
you
just
mean?
new. I just, there is no judgment. Everything is happening exactly for a reason. It doesn't matter if it's darker or if it's lighter, like we already talked about. Dark and light, they go into one. You
Mm.
know, you can't have light without the dark. So this is all happening. You know, if you can judge another, that means you can recognize it in yourself. So it's a dramatic show, but you know, it is all based on human drama, and that's how we learn. We learn from human drama. So it's gonna be like that. It's gonna be like that. That's how it is. Makes it more exciting. Otherwise, it would get very boring. That's how I see it, at least.
That we're what? That we're to continue to go through human drama?
No, it's this life. How can I put it? Everything is designed for maximum dramatic effect. Otherwise, it would get very boring. And in that, we learn from human drama. That's how we learn. That's why God wants us to
From
be friends
external?
with each other.
Is it
Yeah,
from is it from
external.
external? Is it
Mhm.
okay? What about our internal? Are you in pain? Do you still
No,
suffer?
no, not at all.
You
Not
don't
at all.
suffer, you're not in pain at
Not,
all.
nope. I suffer sometimes with the present moment and understanding why people are the way they are, but it's because of the way they've been programmed.
But what is the people, what does people in the external have anything to do with anything? I'm just curious. I'm asking
I'm
these
not sure.
questions because I'm trying to understand, you know, what does that have to do with anything other than utilizing that to take a better look at myself? I mean, that's kind of the
and
way I
that's it.
understand it.
That's it.
It's
That's and
never,
that you
if it's
just
never,
explained it perfectly. That's it. It helps you understand yourself. It
yeah.
helps you understand this incarnation
So
perfectly.
I can say that I'm curious because I know who I am. I
Mhm.
know my story.
Mhm.
I don't need to tell anybody about it. A lot of people
Right,
know
right.
about it because of the work that I do, but I still have pain and I still suffer.
I
And
don't know. I don't suffer anymore.
yeah, I'm just saying, what does that feel like? Because
Oh, it feels like the highest high. I have a higher power. And
yeah,
to get up here and say that, it's so much. But it's true.
and how does that translate into your human physical life experience? Are you
Well, I can help the
able?
children more.
No, let me
Go
finish.
ahead. Sorry.
It's all right. How does that affect in terms of instant manifestation in front of in terms of harmony in life, and in terms of things coming to you, in terms of things that are not going to be encroaching upon your field or impeding your progress? I would imagine someone that has a harmony in their life where there's
Mhm,
no pain and suffering, that
mhm.
they would have magic all the
Right.
time, every
Absolutely.
day.
Uh-huh. Well, that's pretty much what I do, but I had to see the little things in life.
Hmm.
You know, I'm still physically in poverty. but I don't see it that way because I'm a master manifester. If I need a pair of underwear, I'm going to get that underwear in the next 3 hours. I think it shows up at the Goodwill. It shows up wherever I go, and it won't be much money either. So you have to see the little things in life, the butterflies. That's $1 million to me. If I see some butterflies flying around me, I know that nature is key. Nature is so much. Nature is just joyous. It heals you as well. You know, it's all magical the way I do it. And it's all pure and just really good intention. So I just was gifted this master manifestation that whatever I think of, I get. Yes, if I think of a very high desire that I want, yeah, it's going to take time for me to fulfill that goal. But otherwise,
Is
I'm very
poverty a
happy. I'm
program?
very happy.
Is poverty a
No,
program?
no, poverty is just it's hard to explain. You know, I'm with my twin flame, and he's a hoarder, and he has this greed and this it's all about him, you know, and I know that it's the way he's been programmed. So, you know, I just kind of don't judge him, and I try to empower him with it because I see the struggle and I know his real heart. I'm sitting on money. You know, there's boxes in my garage stacked to the ceiling because of a materialistic attachment that my husband has. Love is the key. You know, it's easier for me. I love everything and everyone. Yes, it is hard for me. I mean, I'm saying I don't have any physical pain. I really don't have any mental pain because I've recognized it all and I have made my action plan, and nothing is going to make me ever feel that way again.
Right.
Yes, I could see why people struggle. You know, it's not easy at all. And that's why I want to speak my truth so that others can understand the way. Love heals all. If you just keep loving the situation, it'll crack the code. And so that's my life, just living love. It's a lot of info, you know? Love heals all. Of course, there's other, you know, aspects. You just have to keep loving yourself, stay out in nature. If you put your feet to the ground, it literally resets your whole body. You know, we've been lied to. There's things, nature will heal your whole being. You know, this world has many benefits that people don't know about. It's very beneficial. The trees, you know, some of the, actually most of them, some of like the walnut looks like the brain. You know, if you start eating healthy, it heightens your vibration. You know, I don't eat no more processed foods. I just eat fruit and vegetables. I do eat bread. You know, don't get me wrong. I'll have a hamburger once in a while. I have gratitude for my meat. But I've been praying lately before anything I eat. I had a dream, Todd. I was with my twin flame about 3 years ago in the dream. I walked into Walmart, walking down the aisle. My foot accidentally kicked over a case of water. Looked just like this. These kind of waters. And at the tip of it, there was hole in every single bottle of water. So I just see all this water pouring out of the case in all these pinholes, right? Well, I had epiphany that all of my dreams come to fruition. They come true, if they're good or bad. So I said, what am I going to do? You know, I have to do something. I know that the water is poisoned. I have to do something. So first I started learning how to cleanse the water with a crystal. And then I was getting a little traumatized about the dream. So I just started praying before I drink the water. I said, Lord, please bless this water. Please purify it before I drink it. And that seems to be helping, especially with my mind and the thought of it. Because I also, when I was 15, had a nightmare. It woke me up. It was the worst nightmare I'd ever had. I was in, look at this, Kmart parking lot, and there was a van, and it was backing up, and it was going to hit this guy in a wheelchair. And I said, oh my God, I pushed the guy out of the way, and it hit me, and it knocked out all my teeth. And then a couple of years down the road, I almost died from infection, and all my teeth were gone, you know? So at one point I had an epiphany that, okay, all of my dreams come true. Because they have.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
That was a fast hour.
It was.
A lot of information, fast hour.
I appreciate it, Todd.
So what are your plans from here? What are you looking to do with your life from here forward?
Well, you have actually inspired me by asking me to come on the show. I'd like to go to TEDx, and I want to go on the stage, and I want to talk on the stage and help people, motivationally speaking.
Well, I wish you the best on that, and all blessings to you and your beautiful family and your husband and everything that you do. And I hope to see you on there. I'll look for you on YouTube on TEDx.
Same,
Thank you again for coming in and sharing space with us. And it was good to meet you.
It was so good to meet you. Thank you for being you, Todd, and all you do.
Thank you. Bye-bye.